Hey Rob,
Hey Louis,
you want to do a review?
do I ever?
Let's do one.
Let's do Unnightly in virtual reality by...
Barefoot Gaming.
Louis, what is the Unnightly video game? What do you do? What's the gist?
It is a sneak and kill type game, or if you're good enough, just sneak.
Now, if you're familiar with the game Thief at all, if you've lived long enough to know what Thief is, this is Thief in virtual reality.
Yeah.
That's what Unnightly is. The water arrows, the noise arrows, it maybe doesn't go into as much depth, but that's the general gist. So Louis, how do you move around? What do you do?
Move around with the trackpad. One controller does the trackpad, whereas the other one has a couple other functions, including jump. There's gaps that you need to cross, and not only that, but you do need to crouch to get through certain portions, and that kind of plays in with the controls.
So I'm going to interrupt for a sec for Oculus Rift. Obviously, it was the joystick instead of the trackpad. And onto your point about the crouching. Now, this was a very difficult game to record us playing.
Yes.
Because we're crouching almost all the time. It's easiest to crouch almost in the entirety of this game. The only time you ever need to stand up is if you're going to do a running jump, or if you have to run.
Or to kill somebody with a wrist blade that you get a little bit later into the game.
So there's also a wrist blade. Now, we've talked about movement. We've talked about difficulty levels.
There is normal, hard, and
Harder.
harder.
I don't remember what it's called.
That's the technical term in the game. Don't fact check us on it.
That's what it is. So there's smooth locomotion. All your movement is smooth, except you have the option, if you don't have oodles of space,
You can snap turn, which is great for popping up right beside an enemy and they move past you. You can turn and face them if you don't have piles of space in your own personal battlefield that is your house.
The only negative for that is I found myself snap turning by accident a couple times.
There's wall climbing. You can sneak past through wall climbing, but you can't wall climb forever. You can't stay up there forever. You will get tired.
Stamina. You have stamina, so you can wall climb for a while, and then after that, you'll just drop.
Yeah.
Now, the arrows for killing the enemies, the first one is just a standard, like a steel arrow, right, for popping them in an unarmored area, because it won't penetrate any of their chests. The water arrow,
for putting out fires, whether it's a lantern on the wall that you can extinguish permanently, or fire
brazier,
like braziers, where you can put the fire out temporarily and eventually the embers will start glowing again and it'll brighten up.
And there's a noise arrow that you can use for distracting them. And as I mentioned that, there's also the ability to grab stuff and just toss it. And when you toss it, they will go investigate and go, hey, what was that? And they go wander off to that.
Yep.
That may not be exactly what they sound like, but it's close.
Yep.
And I should also talk about the treasure. You can find loot that you can pick up. And we looked it up because we didn't know really what it's for. If you catch all of the loot, then you get like an achievement of some sort. And they may be changing this.
Yeah.
It's still in early access. Okay, so let's get to an actual review. You have the gist of the game. What was the price, Louis?
Price was $22.79, I believe.
Canadian. So that's regular price. I'm guessing it's going to be like $18-19 US. UK probably around the same. So Louis, give me some pros, give me some cons.
Pros are, it would be a good game to drop a friend into because it's not insanely difficult. It doesn't progress with your skill level. The further along in the missions you go, it will get more difficult, but it's not insanely crazy. You can still slowly sneak up on enemies and spend some time playing the game without just being consumed by hordes of enemies.
I feel like you are referencing another game that I did this to you directly.
Yes. Yes, you
I
did.
won't name drop that archery game, but he's maybe still a little sore from
I am.
falling into in-depth where it got... Okay, sorry, keep going.
More pros and cons is, one of the cons I didn't like was when you have all three arrow types collected, they're above your head and you can look up and you can see them, but they're so closely stacked together and they are organized, but they're so closely stacked together that just to reach up I often grabbed the wrong arrow. And
Yeah, you kinda wanna look.
that's a big con for me, because when there's an enemy sneaking up and I need an arrow to kill him, and I grab a water arrow and I splash him in the face with some water.
I mean, it's a funny scenario, and
It
I'm
is.
sure he laughs about it later.
Yes, he does over my rotting corpse. But I thought maybe if they separated them a little bit more, that would be better. But as the game stands, that's how it is, and you just got to practice drawing the arrow from the right location. The looks of the dungeon that you're surrounding in don't seem to change. It's all big, kind of cobblestone-y type rock walls, and that's it. There's some arches and stuff, but
That being said, the developer has on the webpage that the next level that's coming out is a village. So I think he's aware that it is, and I get what you're saying, but I think he's aware that it's maybe a little monotonous, and he's trying to change it up. But it's a valid point.
the jump aspect I found to be really, really strange, in that you had to stand all the way up and really go for it. Otherwise, you were always jumping short. You can't really do it in crouch mode.
No, just like you can't jump in crouch. If you're crouching, you can't really.
Well, I can.
Can you run, jump, crouch?
Yes.
We'll follow up this with a video of Louis run, crouch, jumping, and we'll let you know.
I think that's all I had.
Out of 5, how many water arrows in a guard's face out of 5 would you give this?
I'm gonna give this 1.5 water arrows in a guard's face. Just
Half?
1.5 only. I'm sorry. I know some people really, really enjoy this game. It really wasn't for me, and I don't know. Maybe it's the genre I'm not as in love with anymore. But it didn't appeal to me. It's not a game I would jump into again.
All right, my turn. So I'm going to list the pros. I actually found the graphics, the lighting was well done. I liked the way you climb. I liked the fact that they are thieving it up, like it's got that feel. I still enjoy that thief style game. I'm gonna hit some cons here. So when you get too close to a wall, it bounces you back. And I was trying to figure this out because I play a lot of VR games. I'm not sure if you were aware, but I've played a lot of VR games.
Yes.
And this one makes me motion sick. And I'm like, why? So if I look at a game like Skyrim, I can play for an extended period of time. I don't feel sick. I don't feel motion sickness. In this one, I'm like, I don't understand what it is. Something about the movement was messing me up. And Louis, I think, actually figured it out. When you get close to an edge, to prevent you from clipping into walls, the game bounces you back. And that really messes with my stomach. Now, if you've ever experienced having your headset lose track at all, and you get a drift that you're not in control of, that's no good for me. And it's no good for a lot of people. And I'm putting that out there. This game, you really have to be careful. If you are prone to motion sickness, that's going to be bad. Another issue I had is sometimes when I would use either the trackpad or the joystick, depending the Rift or the Vive, sometimes it would move me just because my thumb was sitting on it and I wasn't actually putting pressure, which has the same problem of motion sickness. So the game is a neat concept. It's not super long. It's like 2 hours-ish right now. According to the Steam page, the price may be going up as he adds more stuff. It's early access. It's tough to say. But right now, what you're paying for about 2.5 hours, and you can keep going back into it, and you can be a completionist, and I think 2.5 hours is still a realistic set. I'm going to set it at 2.5 out of 5 on this game. The motion sickness is a big deal to me. If I end up laying on the floor just to try to get my bearing, that sucks. The game has piles of potential. Wouldn't you agree? It has potential to be a lot more, and it is early access. You know, more varied enemies. The AI I thought wasn't too bad. Like they'll chase you and you can hide, and they don't just give up. They don't just go, oh, it was nothing. If they actually saw you, they're gonna keep actively looking.
Yeah.
So that's a bonus.
For a short time, they will actually give up after a while if you can hide well enough.
I like the fact that you can complete all of it without killing anybody if you want. If you're looking for a challenge and you just want to put out fire and you want to climb over people or time it right, I think that's a really neat idea. But in the end, that is my score, 2.5 out of 5. The game has potential, but that's where it is right now. And a special thank you to Dogbox who sent this to us. We don't ever ask for you guys to send us games, and this was just a thank you for us putting them out here. Generally, the developers are doing this, so I almost feel bad scoring it not as good, but honesty is number one. And as long as you're coming here to watch our videos, we are doing our best to make sure we're giving you all the info. You can make up your own mind whether this is right for you, but we will always be honest. And that's it. Like, subscribe, comment, all the things.
Everything.
Everything. And we are out of here. We'll talk to you again real soon. See ya.
Bye.